In 1945, the world celebrated the end of a long and terrible war. But in Moscow, the mood was different. The Soviet Union had won a great victory against Germany. Millions of its people had died to achieve this. Now its leaders looked at the world with suspicion. They saw former allies like the United States and Great Britain as new rivals. The country was exhausted, its cities were in ruins, and its people were tired. Yet the desire for power and security was stronger than ever. The leaders in the Kremlin wanted to ensure that Russia would never be weak again. They believed the future belonged to the strong. This deep-seated fear and ambition led to a secret and radical idea. The war had been won with tanks and soldiers, millions of them, but the next war, they believed, would be different. It would be a war of technology, of ideology, and of exceptional individuals. A secret committee was formed, a group of high-ranking officials and scientists who met in hidden rooms deep beneath the Kremlin. Their task was to create a new kind of weapon, not a bomb or a tank, but a human weapon. They envisioned a soldier who could do the impossible, a symbol of Soviet strength and ingenuity that would intimidate their enemies. The committee debated for weeks. Some argued for a man, a hero in the traditional sense, but a brilliant and ruthless female scientist named Dr. Volkov had another idea. She argued that a woman would be the perfect choice. Their enemies would underestimate her, seeing her as the weaker sex. This element of surprise would be a powerful tactical advantage. Furthermore, she argued that a woman could represent Mother Russia herself, a protector of the homeland, fierce and nurturing. The idea was bold and unsettling, but it captured the imagination of the leadership. They approved the project, codenamed Zarya, which means dawn. The search for the right candidate began immediately. They were not looking for a soldier, but for potential. They needed someone young, intelligent, and fiercely loyal to the communist cause. They found her in an orphanage in Leningrad. Her name was Anya Petrova. Her parents were heroes who had died defending the city. She was quiet, but her eyes held a fire of determination. She was strong-willed and had survived horrors that had broken many adults. She believed in the Soviet dream with all her heart. Anya was the perfect clay from which they could mold their super soldier, a living embodiment of the new Soviet era. Anya was taken to a secret facility hidden in the Ural Mountains. It was a place where science pushed the boundaries of nature and ethics. The process to transform her was painful and relentless. Dr. Volkov and her team of scientists began by rewriting her biology. They used a combination of experimental chemical serums and radiation treatments. These were designed to enhance her physical body far beyond normal human limits. She was subjected to daily injections that made her bones denser and her muscles stronger. The procedures were often agonizing, leaving her weak and in constant pain, but she was told it was for the good of the country. Alongside the physical enhancements, they worked to sharpen her mind. Her education was accelerated at an incredible rate. She was taught advanced mathematics, physics, and multiple languages in a matter of months. They used hypnotic suggestion and subliminal messaging while she slept to implant tactical knowledge and strategic thinking directly into her brain. She learned to read maps, operate any vehicle, and master every known form of hand-to-hand combat. Her mind became a library of information, a weapon as deadly as her enhanced strength. She was becoming less of a person and more of a perfect living machine. The physical training was brutal. She was pushed to the absolute edge of her new abilities every single day. She ran for miles through the snow-covered mountains until her lungs burned. She lifted weights that would crush a normal man. She practiced with every type of weapon, from a simple knife to a sniper rifle, until they felt like extensions of her own body. Her trainers were harsh and unforgiving. They taught her to ignore pain, to suppress fear, and to follow orders without question. They were not training a soldier. They were forging a weapon, and weapons do not feel. Throughout this process, Anya felt a growing sense of isolation. She was surrounded by scientists and trainers, but she was utterly alone. She was no longer the girl from the Leningrad orphanage. Her new strength and speed made her different from everyone. She could hear conversations from rooms away and see details no one else could notice. She missed the simple feeling of being normal, of sharing a joke with a friend. She was powerful, yes, but she was also a prisoner of that power. She was becoming exactly what they wanted her to be, a symbol of Soviet might, but a stranger to herself. as her transformation neared completion, Anya struggled with the woman she was becoming. In the quiet moments of the night, she would look at her hands. They were the same hands, but now they could bend steel. She felt a deep conflict within her. Part of her was proud. She was chosen to serve her country in a way no one else could. She believed in the ideals she had been taught since she was a child. The Soviet Union was her family, her purpose. This power was a gift she could use to protect her home, to ensure that no enemy could ever harm Russia again. This thought gave her strength, but another part of her was afraid. The power felt alien, a foreign entity living inside her skin. She remembered being a child, feeling cold and hungry in the orphanage. Those feelings were real, they were human. Now, she rarely felt cold, and her body seemed to function with an unnatural efficiency. She worried that in gaining this incredible strength, she was losing her humanity, piece by piece. She saw the way the scientists looked at her, not as a person, but as a successful experiment. She was their greatest achievement, but she was also their property, an object to be deployed. Her first mission was designed to be a test, a demonstration of her capabilities. The target was a double agent in Vienna who was passing critical atomic secrets to the Americans. The mission was deemed too risky for a normal team. It required stealth, speed, and lethal precision in a hostile city. Anya was flown to Austria under the cover of darkness. For the first time, she was outside the controlled environment of the facility. The sights and sounds of the city were overwhelming to her heightened senses. She could hear every whisper, smell every perfume, and see every nervous glance. The mission itself was flawless. She moved through the city like a ghost, unseen and unheard. She infiltrated the target's heavily guarded apartment with ease, disabling the guards without making a sound. The agent was shocked to see her, a lone woman standing in his study. There was no fight. She completed her objective with cold, detached efficiency, just as she had been trained. She retrieved the stolen documents and disappeared back into the night, leaving no trace that she had ever been there. The mission was a complete success, a perfect execution of her training and abilities. Returning to the secret base, Anya was met with praise from the scientists and officials. They celebrated her success, calling her the future of Soviet defense. But Anya felt no pride, only a hollow emptiness. The mission had confirmed her worst fears. She had taken a life without hesitation, without feeling. The human part of her, the girl who had cried for her parents in Leningrad, seemed to be gone. She was now Zarya, the Dawn, a weapon that looked like a woman. She understood that she would be sent on more missions, that she would be asked to do things that would further erode her soul. The success of Project Zarya sent ripples through the highest levels of the Soviet government. The leaders saw in Anya the ultimate tool for the emerging Cold War. She was an asset that could operate in the shadows, an undeniable advantage over their Western adversaries. They began to plan for her future, imagining her as the tip of the spear in a new kind of global conflict. She could destabilize governments, eliminate threats, and acquire intelligence without any risk to conventional forces. She was the perfect secret weapon, a ghost who could change the course of history without anyone ever knowing her name. The potential impact of a single super soldier was immense. In a world teetering on the brink of a new conflict, defined by espionage and nuclear anxiety, Anya represented a paradigm shift. Her existence could force the other world powers to react, to try to create their own enhanced soldiers, sparking a secret arms race fought not with missiles but with human biology. She was the first domino. Her actions, dictated by the men in the Kremlin, could start fires or prevent wars. She held the power to shape the destiny of nations, a heavy burden for one person to carry. Ultimately, Anya's story is a symbol of the era's great paradox. It was a time of great hope for a better future, but also of deep paranoia and fear. The Soviet Union, in its quest for absolute security, created a being of immense power, but also of immense loneliness. Anya Petrova, the super soldier codenamed Zarya, stood as a testament to her country's ambition and its cold, calculating heart. Whether she would be its savior or a catalyst for its eventual moral decay was a question that only the unfolding history of the Cold War could answer.